At 11:47 p.m., a phone call was recorded that would later become a pivotal piece of evidence in an unfolding criminal investigation. According to investigators, the caller was Jennifer Gledhill. What she allegedly said during that conversation would soon draw national attention and ultimately place her at the center of a high-profile murder case. On September 28, 2024, Gledhill contacted law enforcement to report her husband, 51-year-old Matthew Johnson, missing. What followed would evolve into a deeply disturbing investigation: the disappearance of a Utah husband and father, and the subsequent arrest of his wife, who now stands accused of first-degree murder. At the time of this recording, she has pleaded not guilty to all charges. "Having known them in our home, it was shocking," a family acquaintance later said when the allegations became public. Many who once viewed Jennifer as a devoted mother and supportive spouse struggled to reconcile those perceptions with the accusations against her. This is the case of Jennifer Gledhill and Matthew Johnson, a story that began in an upscale Utah neighborhood and now unfolds inside a courtroom. To outsiders, Jennifer Gledhill and Matthew Johnson appeared to be a couple with a stable and successful life. They lived with their 3 children, aged 11, 7, and 5, in an upscale home located in Cottonwood Heights, Utah. Neighbors and acquaintances reportedly saw them as a typical family navigating everyday life in a quiet suburban community. Matthew Johnson, 51, was a respected member of the Utah National Guard's 19th Special Forces Group. Friends and fellow service members describe him as dependable, highly knowledgeable, and committed to his military responsibilities. He served as a Green Beret and had dedicated more than a decade of service to his country. Jennifer, 42, was often viewed as a stay-at-home mother and a supportive military spouse. Those familiar with the family described her as polite and somewhat private, a homebody who appeared dedicated to her children. Together, the couple presented an image of stability and normalcy. But according to court documents and police reports, their relationship had begun to unravel months before the events that would ultimately lead to criminal charges. What appeared to be a picture-perfect family life was allegedly masking deep and escalating internal conflict. According to court filings, concerns about the couple's marriage began to surface in mid-2024. Records indicate that Jennifer and Matthew had been considering divorce as early as July of that year. Legal documents later described their relationship as highly dysfunctional and deteriorating over time. In August 2024, Finer filed for a temporary protective order against Matthew, claiming she needed protection from him. However, when the case was reviewed by 3rd District Commissioner Russell Minus, the petition was ultimately dismissed. According to the commissioner's written decision, the video submitted by Jennifer did not support her claims of fear and instead showed mutual confrontation between the pair. Additionally, text messages included in the case were described as repeatedly berating, belittling, and demeaning, allegedly sent by Jennifer to Matthew. On September 16, 2024, just days before the events now under investigation, the protective order was dismissed. Commissioner Minus noted that the couple's interactions suggested a long-term breakdown in the relationship and stated that, in his view, divorce proceedings should have been initiated earlier. What no one knew at the time was that the situation would escalate dramatically and that a legal separation would never take place. In the weeks leading up to September 2024, those close to Matthew Johnson reportedly noticed significant changes in his behavior. According to statements from friends, Matthew appeared increasingly concerned about tensions at home. Some individuals later told investigators that he was spending extended periods away from the residence, including nights at a Utah National Guard facility. This decision, they say, was motivated by what he believed to be growing instability within his household. Retired Utah National Guardsman Kevin Thompson, a longtime friend of Matthew's, recalled one of their final conversations. In it, Matthew allegedly expressed the belief that it was time to formally end the marriage, stating he was ready to move forward with divorce proceedings. However, according to prosecutors, Matthew would not have the opportunity to pursue that course of action. Court documents suggest that, during this same period, Jennifer was allegedly laying the groundwork for a different outcome. Investigators say that while the marriage was nearing its breaking point, Jennifer was allegedly involved in an extramarital relationship. According to prosecutors, this relationship would later become a critical piece in the unfolding case. According to prosecutors, prosecutors, during the weeks leading up to September 20th, 2024, Jennifer Gledhill was allegedly engaged in an extramarital relationship. Investigators claim this was more than a brief affair, describing it as emotionally intense and a significant factor in the events that would follow. Court documents allege that on September 19th, just 2 days before the incident, Jennifer displayed a loaded Glock 19X handgun to the individual with whom she was allegedly involved. At the time, the significance of this moment was not immediately understood. Many military households routinely possess firearms, and no immediate alarm was raised. Prosecutors state that Jennifer later arranged for the couple's 3 children, aged 11, 7, and 5, to spend the night at her parents' home. Investigators allege this decision was part of a deliberate plan. According to the state's case, the events of the following night were not spontaneous but premeditated. On the evening of September 20th, 2024, witnesses later reported hearing what sounded like a heated argument between the couple. According to Jennifer's subsequent statements to investigators, Matthew had confronted her after learning about the alleged affair. The argument, she claimed, was intense, reflecting years of unresolved marital issues. What allegedly happened next would form the basis of the prosecution's case against her. According to the prosecution's account, in the early hours of September 21st, 2024, while Matthew Johnson was reportedly asleep inside the couple's master bedroom, Jennifer Gledhill allegedly used his 9mm handgun to fatally shoot him. Prosecutors state that Matthew was unarmed and unconscious at the time of the incident. Investigators allege that following the shooting, Jennifer attempted to conceal what had occurred. According to her own reported statements to a witness, she moved Matthew's body using a rooftop storage container and later placed it in the family minivan. Prosecutors claim she then drove to an undisclosed location where she allegedly buried his remains in a shallow grave. The exact location has not been publicly confirmed, and as of this recording, Matthew Johnson's body has not been recovered. Authorities allege that after returning to the residence, Jennifer began a cleanup effort. Court filings reference the use of bleach, carpet cleaning materials, and the ordering of a replacement mattress within days of the incident. Investigators later found evidence of what they described as attempts to remove biological traces from the bedroom. At this stage of the investigation, no official missing persons report had yet been filed. According to prosecutors, Jennifer's next actions and what she allegedly told another individual shortly after the incident would play a central role in the case against her. According to investigators, on September 22, 2024, approximately 1 day after the alleged incident, Jennifer Gledhill visited the residence of the man with whom she was reportedly involved in an extramarital relationship. During that visit, she allegedly made a verbal confession describing Matthew Johnson's death and the steps she claimed to have taken afterward. The individual later told authorities that he observed bruising on Jennifer's body. When questioned about the injuries, she allegedly attributed them to efforts involved in moving and burying her husband, as well as cleaning the residence. Law enforcement officials state that the man was disturbed by the alleged confession and, in subsequent conversations, began documenting their communications. Prosecutors assert that he recorded a phone call in which he expressed fear over what she had disclosed. According to court documents, Jennifer's response during that call included comments suggesting emotional detachment. In one recorded statement, she allegedly referenced Matthew in the past tense, despite the fact that he had not yet been reported missing. Investigators cite additional remarks from the recorded conversation, which they claim demonstrate a lack of remorse and an extremist view toward retribution. These statements became key evidence in establishing intent and state of mind, according to prosecution filings. At this point, Matthew Johnson was still not officially listed as missing. That would change nearly 1 week later. Approximately 6 days after the alleged confession to her acquaintance, Jennifer Gledhill contacted law enforcement to report Matthew Johnson as missing. According to police records, she stated that he had told her he would be away for a week and had instructed her not to call him. Meanwhile, the Utah National Guard had already initiated search efforts after Matthew failed to report for duty on September 23, 2024. These efforts included both formal searches by law enforcement and volunteer search parties organized by his colleagues and friends. According to investigators, the individual who recorded Jennifer's prior statements to him had already begun compiling evidence. This included screenshots of text messages and recordings of conversations that would later prove significant in the investigation. investigation. On October 2, 2024, authorities say that this evidence was formally submitted to police, providing key information that would shape the ongoing inquiry into Matthew Johnson's disappearance and the alleged actions of Jennifer Gledhill. On September 28, 2024, Cottonwood Heights police executed a search warrant at the Johnson-Gledhill residence. According to law enforcement reports, investigators observed a scene that differed markedly from the account Jennifer Gledhill had provided regarding her husband's whereabouts. Police documented a large blood-stained area on the bedroom carpet, as well as additional traces on the bed frame and surrounding surfaces. Investigators also noted that the bedroom mattress had recently been replaced. Records later indicated that the replacement mattress had been ordered on September 24th and delivered 2 days later. According to court documents, GPS data from Jennifer's phone showed her movements during the critical period. The data reportedly tracked her to the location where Matthew Johnson's truck was found and later north toward Davis County, consistent with locations she had allegedly referenced in conversations with her acquaintance. Authorities allege that these combined pieces of evidence, the bloodstains, the replaced mattress, and the GPS tracking, played a central role in linking Jennifer Gledhill to the events surrounding her husband's disappearance. On October 2, 2024, authorities arrested Jennifer Gledhill on charges that included first-degree murder and obstruction of justice. Law enforcement officials cited the recorded statements, text messages, GPS data, and physical evidence recovered from the residence as factors leading to her arrest. The investigation soon extended to Jennifer's parents, Thomas and Rosalie Gledhill. On October 24, 2024, both were arrested and charged with multiple counts of obstruction of justice. According to court documents, investigators determined that the couple had spent several hours at Jennifer's home in late September, despite initially claiming a much shorter visit. Police reports further alleged that Rosalie Gledhill purchased the new mattress found in the home and that her phone had been remotely reset, resulting in the loss of data about her whereabouts during the period in question. Thomas Gledhill, when questioned about the bedroom and cleanup, reportedly made statements suggesting knowledge of the crime scene. Investigators also discovered a firearm box hidden near Jennifer's bedroom, wrapped in a child's onesie, which corresponded to the Glock 19X that Jennifer had reportedly shown to her acquaintance earlier in September. Authorities described these findings as evidence of a coordinated effort to conceal the alleged crime. Months after Jennifer Gledhill's arrest, Matthew Johnson's body has not been recovered. Law enforcement officials report that extensive search operations have taken place across multiple counties, including Davis, Weber, and Box Elder counties, extending toward the Utah-Idaho border. More than 70 searchers, including law enforcement personnel, volunteers, and members of Matthew Johnson's military network, have participated in these ongoing efforts. According to friends and family, the prolonged search has been a source of continued distress. Kevin Thompson, a retired Utah National Guardsman and longtime friend, stated that the lack of resolution has been particularly difficult for those close to Matthew. Fellow Green Beret John Hash expressed frustration at the ongoing challenges in locating him. Investigators have continued to follow leads with the hope of ultimately determining the location of Matthew Johnson's remains. Law enforcement emphasizes that the search remains active and that they are pursuing all available evidence in the case. Jennifer Gledhill has pleaded not guilty to all charges, which include first-degree murder, obstruction of justice, possession of a controlled substance, abuse or desecration of a human body, and tampering with a witness. During her bail hearing, prosecutors argued that she posed a significant risk to the community and the integrity of the investigation. According to court records, prosecutors referenced statements allegedly made by Jennifer, suggesting she might attempt to harm herself rather than face jail time. The presiding judge denied her request for bail, citing concerns regarding community safety. Adding complexity to the case is a $500,000 life insurance policy on Matthew Johnson, with Jennifer named as the beneficiary. Prudential Life Insurance has requested the court's guidance in determining who should receive the policy benefits, given that Jennifer is facing serious criminal charges and Matthew's body has not been recovered. Jennifer Gledhill's trial is scheduled to begin on December 8th, 2025, and is expected to last approximately 8 days. The case continues to attract attention due to both the severity of the allegations and the unresolved questions surrounding Matthew Johnson's disappearance. One of the most profound consequences of this case has been its impact on the couple's 3 children, who have lost one parent to alleged violence and the other to incarceration. Family members have expressed expressed deep concern for their well-being as legal proceedings continue. Matthew Johnson's family, through their victim representative, issued a statement saying they hope to either locate Matthew or receive information about the whereabouts of his remains so that he can be properly laid to rest. According to prosecutors, the central theory of the case is that Jennifer Gledhill allegedly killed her husband after he discovered her extramarital relationship. Authorities contend that the alleged motive was to avoid divorce proceedings and associated financial or custodial obligations. As the trial approaches in December 2025, questions remain regarding the choices and alleged actions of Jennifer Gledhill, as well as the broader impact on all those connected to the case. The legal process will ultimately determine the outcome, while the family and community await answers.